It's Friday, January 29th. Let's talk Oculus. What's up guys? Hope you had a good week. Just some housekeeping before we get into the show. I released a video earlier this week. It's a gameplay video about Five Nights at Freddy's DLC called Curse of the Dreadbear. So if you haven't seen that yet, just hit that link right above and it'll take you right there. And if you haven't subscribed already, consider subscribing since we do this show every single Friday at 9 AM Eastern. Now with that out of the way, on to the show. And it's been a positive week for the Oculus system, with over 60 titles surpassing $1 million in revenue. Oculus didn't release any names of these titles. However, over 60 accounts for around 30% of the games on the store. A fantastic achievement, and it really shows the growth of the system. I hope this raises a few eyebrows in the gaming industry and motivates some game developers to maybe push out a VR title. Speaking of which, Mark Zuckerberg just said this week that the Oculus Quest 2 is on track to be the first VR mainstream headset. They haven't released any numbers in particular, but this is great news. Hopefully there are more standalone VR headsets on the horizon. There has been plenty of rumors lately, but let's see if they're actually true. Competition is what's definitely needed to push it to the next level. Moving on now, and Oculus owners should expect the Unlisted App distribution to launch any day now on the Quest. Now I talked about this in episode 4 of Let's Talk Oculus, but if you're not sure what it is, let me give you a quick rundown. Essentially, this store allows developers to create unlisted apps directly onto the platform. It's similar to how SideQuest works, however you won't need a computer to sideload these games, which is fantastic since most people won't have a computer nowadays or simply find the SideQuest process to be complex. With this store, you will need a developer key or a URL to download the games. They will support automatic updates and they will show in your library. I'm excited for this. It's going to make sideloading so much more convenient for everyone. On to some game news now, and we have quite a lot of them to be honest. I'm going to start with Population 1. There was a new night map that has been added to the game for this recent event. Until February 7th, you can play in the new Darkest Days event, featuring a night version of the map, new gun skins, and a new 9v9 war mode. As far as I'm aware, Population 1 has been killing it on the Quest, and is gearing up for a new season soon after this event, which I'm sure fans are excited about. Here's one that might pique your interest. The Oculus Quest has just received its first brain training game called Reakt. This game is focused for athletes or anyone who really just plays any sport. It starts off by asking you your favorite sports and then tries to tailor your experience to be effective in the sports you choose. I'm super excited to check this out. I play golf, and for anyone who does already knows how mentally tough that game is. So I'll find out if it helps and I'll report back on my Twitter account if you're interested. Sticking with the sports/fitness theme, FitXR is actually getting an update which allows you to get DLC for the boxing and for dancing, and it comes in at just $9.99 per DLC. Each DLC pack adds another hour to the game. If there's anyone watching this video who has tried FitXR or any other fitness game, then let me know what they're like in the comments below. I'm really curious to see what they're like. Now I know there's some Doom fans out there, and the publishers at ID Software have actually kind of leaked a potential VR game called Project 2021A. The VR game has been listed by the Australian Classification Board. Now is this Doom Eternal VFR, or is it a completely new IP? One thing to note about the listing is that it mentions online interactivity. Now Doom Eternal is a single player only game, so could this mean Quake? We're playing a guessing game here, so we'll just have to wait and see with this one. But fans at ID should definitely be excited for this one. Some more game news now. And if anyone's a fan of I Expect You to Die, well, they've just announced a sequel coming to potentially the Oculus platform in 2021. The game will be a direct sequel to the popular first game with improved and expansive mechanics, new puzzles, environments, and an in-depth storyline. The platforms haven't been revealed, but the game generated $2 million of revenue on the Quest, so it's a safe bet that it'll be released on there again. Also to note here, starting from today to February the 5th, the game's actually going to be 20% off. That's the original game. It's going to be 20% off the Oculus store. So if you haven't had a look at it before, definitely have a look at this game because it's got raving reviews and it seems to be a big fan favorite in the VR community. And the game news keeps on rolling with the Walking Dead Saints and Sinners update with the trial update, and finally getting a new release date of February 4th. This news comes shortly after they delayed the game last week, just 2 days before the original release date. During the announcement, the developer also announced that they've had one heck of a year, hitting around 29 million of sales. Unbelievable work, and it's still the best game on an Oculus Quest system, in my opinion. Speaking of horror games, Wraith, The Oblivion, The Afterlife, is such a long title, has actually got a spring release date for 2021. They also released this new trailer that you see on screen now, and have offered some details of the story. You will play as a photographer, Ed Miller, who will enter Barclay Mansion, an opulent residence filled with Hollywood decadence and occult research. The player would need to use their Wraith abilities to uncover the horrifying truth about your death and the mansion's dark history. Well, sign me up immediately. This sounds terrifying, this sounds haunting, and this sounds like an absolute blast to play. I'm all for this one, just because I love horror games in VR. I know it seems like I'm a bit of a psycho, but you know what, it's the best way to play a horror game experience is through VR. And if you haven't played Resident Evil 7 on VR, I know that's a PlayStation game, then you're definitely missing out, because horror games are definitely perfect on the VR systems. So I would be excited for this one if I was you. And finally, to round off the show, 2 artistic Oculus tools for the Rift and for the Quest have had significant updates over this past week. Google have ended their support for their groundbreaking artistic tool, Tilt Brush, and have gone open source with it, which can mean one or two things. Either this is the end of the tool, or that other developers may pick it up and develop the tool into something even more spectacular. The news comes a day after Gravity Sketch announced that their app will be free for individual users. If you're unaware, Gravity Sketch is a 3D modeling software which was originally $25 but is now free. It's more complicated than Tilt Brush. In this app you can create 3D prototypes, export them in various file types for business owners, and utilize infinite layers. This would have been a very cool tool if my university had it while I was doing my mechanical engineering degree. But I guess people with 3D printers should definitely take note for this one, because I guess you can prototype your 3D creations before you actually print them. And that's a wrap. There's a lot of news to cover in that one, that's why I had to go quickly. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Consider subscribing if you've not already, since this is a new show that we do every single Friday at 9 AM Eastern Time. And with that, enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for talking with me. My name is Dan, and I'll see you next week. Hit 'em out.